but I'll share it now.
From my studio here in South Manchester, and I hope you are all incredibly well and having a great week. Want to give a massive shout out to this week's show sponsors, of course, London Disc Golf Community for sponsoring the YouTube stream. As they do, they just got a load of new discs, go check out their website. And Disc Golf UK, official sponsor of the 2021 British BDGA Championships, and also the show sponsor of this podcast. So thanks to Disc Golf UK for all the support. And apologies to Rachel. Rachel, I didn't change the logo on the graphics. I know I said I was going to. It's been a week. That's my excuse. You guys will get to see the new shiny Disc Golf UK logo next week. And that also says episode 62, so we're off to a fantastic start. And to make this better, the only way I can make it better is to bring on a guest and save everybody from the fact that I have messed up the intro, but that's all good because you guys expect nothing less from me. And coming to us this week is the one, the only, the MA3 British champion himself, Rob from the Amside. Hello, Rob.
Hey Harry, how's it going?
It is going much better now you're here to mean that I have not the only person who gets to talk.
Well, our podcast is post-edited, so I don't envy you having to do it live.
Yeah, you get to restart restart when you mess up the intro. I've got no such thing. Luckily, there's 9 people here. So hello to the 9 people who heard me mess up the intro, and welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on finally. I say finally. It's definitely me, not you. That's been slacking on getting you on. But thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I mean, Dale's been on a few times. I feel a bit unloved, but it's awesome to be here, and I can tick it off my disc golf list.
Yeah, you definitely can. Dale's one of my go-to panic guests when I message at 4 p.m. on a Thursday. I need a guest. Dale's usually really good at jumping in and helping out. So there we go. A tiny bit more organised than that this week, but not by too much. So how was your week?
Oh well, the week's just been the aftermath of the weekend. Been absolutely great, as you said. British Championships of the weekend. I am the MA3 British champion, which feels pretty good to say out loud.
There you go.
And it's great. I got my prize basket arrived yesterday at work, and that's already set up. And
nice.
I've been patting away in between meetings, so it's all good.
Fantastic. We'll have to get into the prizes because I was pretty proud of what we managed to managed to pull off. But we've got a whole champ segment to come to, so we'll save our ace bragging and other champs related activities until then.
Sure.
But yeah, so the way we usually start off the show is to talk about things that are going on in the UK's disc golf news, and then we move on to some other topics. During the off-season, there's usually not too much UK disc golf news, and I think now Champs is over, we're kind of officially in the off-season, but still a few things. So there's actually a tournament this weekend. I am not going, but it is the Arrow Valley Championships. I believe that's at Arrow Valley Disc Golf course, and I think it's their first sanctioned event there.
Well, it's a favourite of the other podcast, the Chains Boys. I know Bowen especially. He's a big fan of the Arrow Valley events. There's so many courses, so many events I want to get to next year that are on the list. I'm sure everyone listening knows the restrictions of you can't go to everything, you can't get to everywhere.
Sure.
But no, it's great to have one more for people that can make it over there. It's great that the season isn't quite over.
Yeah, and it will. The season will rumble on after that as well, because there's the mini mods that Richard Hatton's organising.
Yeah, and you can't forget the there's a lot of the Christmas events. I know the Nottinghamshire Disc Golf Club, they're running an event early December. And I think there's a couple of Winter Wonderland events. So I think there's definitely enough disc golf to keep you ticking over until the new year, until February when it all starts again.
Yeah. I don't think people will have plenty of things to go play. Maybe some unsanctioned events. Maybe some ice bowls. I'm not sure. I haven't heard any of those being announced yet, but they're always quite fun.
Well, I managed to finish the regular season without having to wear mittens in between shots. So I'm pretty happy about that. But I think they'll be going on in any off-season rounds moving forward.
I tell you what, the first round this weekend, I had my glove on. I'm not too proud to say I was feeling the cold a little bit, but I got the gloves out, but it was all good. So Arrow Valley Championships this weekend. I believe, for anyone who doesn't know, the Arrow Valley League has been like a season-long thing run by Matthew, and it's kind of really focused at the beginner levels of competitive disc golf. So much to the point that they basically don't run MA2 and higher divisions. They don't run MPO. It's pretty much Masters, MA3, MA4, and some women's divisions, I think. So it'd be cool to see. It almost feels a bit like a feeder league to some of the other tournaments.
Well, I think that's important. I think, I mean, we'll get onto it in terms of sort of winning MA3 events, but there's always the sense of, I didn't win the event, I didn't win the tournament, I just won my division within the tournament. So I think if you have these events that are run specifically for MA4, MA3 events, then if you win it, you are the top tier of that weekend. I think that does incredible things for anyone's sort of morale moving forward into the season. Yeah,
I like you probably know, have played all the divisions. I was MA4 for a year, MA3 for a year, MA2 for a year now. So I feel like having those lower divisions be catered for is really important. And as we get bigger and bigger and more good players emerge in the country, I think it's good to have things like Arrow Valley League that mean we don't have to move away entirely from having competitive MA4. Because MA4 wasn't represented at Champs this year, so it's nice for those players to have somewhere to play.
For sure. I mean, disc golf is still very much grassroots, so just because things are moving at a fantastic speed and we're seeing like the pro level build and the sort of the level of event organisation growing, you still need to remember that it is grassroots. You're going to need to build up the players that are getting into it for the first year, the first couple of years. If you stop nurturing those people, then again we're just going to start seeing players or see the growth that we're seeing start to die off.
Yeah, I think it's important to also transition that into a stronger junior field because that's something we really don't have in the UK disc golf scene yet. So junior tournaments are going to be important in the future.
Don't need any more juniors. Just seeing the youth alone, just Joe Bryan and Noah absolutely killing it. Like being the top of the game. I fear for if we actually started focusing on developing juniors early on. I think some crazy levels to be achieved.
As old people will need as much help as we can get for as long as we can get it. Yeah. well, talking about juniors, shout out to Ben Holding as well. Incredible up-and-coming player. I managed to beat him out by one shot this weekend, and he said to me, "It's the last time you're ever going to beat me," and I didn't disagree.
It's always good when a statement's got a definitive bit of truth or like truth behind it.
Yeah, well, apparently he's had a little wager with some of the Quarry Park boys, and I was the one he used as a measuring stick, and he said, if I lose to Harry Messenger at Champs, then all 5 of you get a disc out of my bag.
Nice.
And
you gotta be happy about that, right?
Yeah, and acing the second to last hole was quite a fun way to beat him, so...
I mean, that's a fun way to do anything.
So yeah, Ben, I'm sorry that you're going to have to go replace all your discs, and I'm sorry that you lost the playoff for last cash in MA2. Unfortunate. That's what happens when you bet against the TD.
Well, seeing as you made him lose 5 discs, maybe you can do him a deal on one of your don't shoot stamped MVP discs.
Getting the merch plug in early, I appreciate that. Yeah, there are still some available if anybody is looking for don't shoot stamped discs. Because Golf UK have a good range of them still. They had them at the stall at the tournament, so go spend those winnings vouchers if you got one, and go check out some of the merch. If you're here with us in chat tonight, say hello. Be nice to chat to some of you and get your thoughts on some of the topics that are going around at the moment. It'd be good to get some people's opinions. So what else is going on in the UK disc golf news at the moment? Of course, there's the announcement of some of the stuff for next season, which we'll get into in a little bit. But the Majors tour dates were announced, which is exciting.
I think we can't ignore the. I think we're very much in the season of disc releases. I think we've had like 4 or 5 big releases this week. We've had like obviously there's the Ricos, which I'm sure you're excited about, and I think a lot of cast fans are excited about. There was the Razor Claw 2 that came out this week. So I think it's that sort of sense of everyone's shopping for Christmas. Everyone's got it's the off season. Everyone's going to be buying plastic. I think we're going to be seeing some cool releases over the next few months. I know the Discmania FD, I think, is scheduled to come out by the end of the year. So
there's a lot of people excited about that one.
A lot of I mean, there's a lot of money to be spent on plastic over the next couple of months. I think restraint is something I'm going to have to try and exhibit quite a bit of.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I spent my voucher for 6th place in MA2 the day I got it. I got myself some new putting putters. I'm going to switch to the Nomad this off season. So
nice. Yeah, I thought in the email you sort of said you need to spend it all at once and maybe take your time, but you didn't realise is the basket was ready to go. It was just a case of check it out.
Yeah.
So I think absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, disc releases is such a hot topic right now, and like you said, the Razor Claw 2 released yesterday, and I thought there were a couple of really interesting things about that. Firstly, the price point was quite high.
Yep.
One of the highest stock disc releases I think we've ever seen. I don't actually know what the price was in the UK for the releases, but I know it was on the Discmania Pro Store. It was $29.99.
I think Discmania especially. I think there's a bit of a tightrope being walked, but I think a lot of brands it's happening with a lot of brands as well, in the sense that we've seen this incredible market for discs, especially pro model discs, and Discmania has an incredible collector market. So they're like, oh well, people are prepared to pay more. Obviously, the last year I think it's probably gone up about £10 per disc extra, especially on these tour series. So I think, yes, tour series do sell for quite a bit, and there's a fantastic collector's market. But I don't know how much. It's sort of the Icarus. It sort of reminds me of Icarus a little bit. If they raise their prices too much, then maybe the sort of the love will start to go, and people just.
Yeah.
I think that's yeah. I've also seen a couple of issues with sort of the injection molding port that's been badly cut, and if you're buying a disc for $30 or £30, you need it to be pristine, right? You don't expect chunks or it to be badly cut or there to be sort of sprues. I think
exactly.
You're definitely playing with fire when you're charging that much for a disc.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting that recently we've seen a couple of these tour series that you expect to all sell out straight away. Actually, not. I think they've finally hit the mark where not all the Sex and Firebuds sold out the day they dropped, and there were still Razor Claws available like 12 hours after the drop on quite a lot of websites. So it's nice that we're finally seeing sort of the actual availability of these discs for more than the people who are there waiting to buy them on release time, which is probably a good thing for the sport. That maybe some of the hype has died down, but also maybe some of the companies have got their production up to a point where they can drop these like 20,000 discs at a time, and it might even be more than that for things like the Razor Claw.
Absolutely, people that rely on throwing certain discs. I mean, I throw Wasaki destroyers. And if there was a case where suddenly I couldn't get hold of them and I lost my go-to destroyer, then obviously that's going to affect the game. So accessibility to discs that people need to and want to throw is crucial.
Yeah, I agree. I really do. And I think it's nice that we're getting to a point where maybe things are going to be more available again, like they were when I first started playing. Even I've been playing since 2017, and 2017, 2018, you pretty much, if you wanted a disc, you could go get it. Like there was none of this, they're only running these ones 3 times this year and it's going to be February until they've got any, or anything like that. Pretty much, for the major brands, you could get whatever you wanted whenever you wanted it, which was quite nice.
Back when first run Bergs were about a tenner.
Yeah, I'm not sure the Bergs were ever quite that cheap, but I bought my first run Falk for the one that's just here. I got that for retail off the website 6 months after the drop, so...
Amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's a different market out there these days, but
for sure,
it's certainly an exciting market, and it's good for people who are trying to get into retailing, being able to open shops. We've got 5-6 UK shops that are fairly significant these days, whereas it really was just 2 or 3 when I was new to the game. So,
well, I've been playing for a year and I've noticed that there's just a community, and like you say, everything just it's popped up. It's a lot more accessible. Whilst also, as certain discs are not accessible, but it's a case of I actually have a list on my phone of when I first started playing. I listed all the places that I could buy discs from, and that's grown by a huge amount just over the last 6 months.
Yeah, it really has.
It's cool to see.
Even things like the second-hand collector's market in the UK has blossomed in the last year. Like a year ago, I looked on the analytics just out of interest this week, and the UK used a new page had 500 members, and with just over that, we've just passed 1,000 this week. So that's doubled in size in a year. All the collectors pages for each brand, we started creating those about January this year. So
it's so hard to buy discs. It's so hard to buy discs on the newer news site now. You have to be so quick because there's so many members. Like even non-collectible discs, I putt with roaches. So if soft roaches come out, and this is a plug, if you have any soft roaches which they've stopped making, if one comes up, it's I'll be like, post 5 minutes ago they've got a roach, yeah, I'll take that, and then within a minute someone said that they would take it. You've got to be so quick on the just the sheer amount of members. As soon as there's a good disc, it's gone.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things where you just got to snag them and worry about, oh yeah, did I actually need that later?
Yeah.
I've had a bit of a clear out this week. I've been selling off some of my excess. I kind of have a rule that at the end of the season I take all my discs out of my bag and out of my car, and if I can't fit them all in my bookcase behind me, then some of them have to go.
That's a good rule. I counted. I've now reached the over 80 mark in terms of discs. I bagged 25 of them, so I think I might be doing a bit of a clear out myself.
Yeah, I think my shelf fits about 80, and I've been selling about 30 this week, so I think I was well over 100 for a little bit, but it's a compulsion that I need to fix for next year, because I also this week I did my disc golf budget for the year, and the amount of money I spent on the sport was shocking. Let's just say.
Yeah, I worked out how much I spent on discs, and I based that, and I did this percentage of my yearly salary on, and that's too high. The percentage of that's too high.
Yeah, the discs for me was bad but not awful, but then it was the travelling to tournaments that was the big one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, over
100%.
Over £1,000 of petrol on travelling to disc golf tournaments this year. So yeah, that one.
And it's not getting cheaper as well.
No, especially with the prices on the pumps at the moment. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's time to cut back slightly for next year. Plus, I've had a very nice request from Amy, who is the best wife ever, that she might actually want to see me a little bit next year. and that I should not use every single holiday day that I get on disc golf tournaments, which seemed like a fair enough request.
I'm bordering unreasonable, but that's just.
No. For real, I'm excited about. We're going to Japan this year, so that'll be.
And not for the Japanese Open.
No, it's at a different time of year to the Japanese Open. Both sadly and for the good of my honeymoon.
Incredible.
So, one more topic of UK disc golf news. Let me just bring up the screen share. This was shown today. So this is Derek Wobbin's latest sculpture at Quarry Park. I'm not sure if you had a chance to see this yet, but this is Disc
Yes,
Henge.
I screenshotted it just before coming on, and I was hoping we would come up to this. It's such a cool hole. Absolute dream hole now.
So this is at the top of the short course, but also on the full layout that we played in the tournament. And that's going to make it really fun. And I like that it's at the back, so it's like the improved version of the mozzarella sticks at USDGC.
It's screaming for a rebound ace. Like you go long of the basket and you get a ping back. I think there's going to be some interesting shots on that hole. Definitely. And I can't wait to get over to Quarry and give it a run. I'm
fairly sure the hole we played to that basket was a 200-meter par 4 though, so I don't think there's going to be any aces. But
okay, I didn't know that. Well, maybe maybe an eagle at least.
Yeah, or on the short course.
Yeah.
but yeah, so we come to the topic at hand, the 2021 BDGA Championships Invitational, presented by Disc Golf UK. Very unique tournament in the UK disc golf scene, because it, like I said, was an invitational where people had to earn points in a year and qualify for the event, and then got their invite based on that, which was designed to get as many of the best players in the country in their respective divisions throughout this year to attend the tournament, and I think it was fairly successful. Couldn't agree more.
I think points was a big thing for me this season. Like, one of my big goals was to make it to champs, so the fact I made it was great. And then when I was there, I was talking to sort of the players that are sort of the higher rated in the MA3, so the people on the league cards and the people sort of just before the event, like Jason McNeese, Rob Hurd, Lee Gibson, who I'd all played against and lost to in this season, and we pretty much unanimously agreed that there wasn't many people missing on the MA3 division. There was a couple of names here and there, like Alan Pender wasn't able to make it, and I think he's always someone to keep an eye on in that division. But a lot of these players that I like to include myself are probably moving to MA2 or definitely moving to MA2 next year. I think that the quality in every single sort of division was just completely there. So it was 100% the British Championships. It wasn't a selection of people that just wanted to come along.
Yeah, so I completely agree, and it's really cool, and that's how champs should be. One of the cool things about being the person who was in charge of all the invites this year, so for anyone who doesn't know, I assume you all do, that I was co-TD of the event, and I get to see how many points everyone's got, how many people have qualified. There was a few people who'd qualified in MA3 fairly high up the standings whose rating had then risen too high to play MA3, so there were some people there missing out, but aside from Alan, who you just mentioned, the next highest person who qualified for MA3 that couldn't make it was 16th in points. So
yeah, 100%. I think so really the cream of MA3. I know that's a slightly juxtaposing, because obviously the cream of the crop MA3 you could argue that they should be playing MA2. Until you get to the pro, there's always going to be the conversation about where some of these players should be if you take ratings out of it. Because, if you're on the 896 rated, then really you're an MA2 player, but you're not forced to at that point. But yeah, I think the divisions were set really well. I'm sure we'll talk about it in the next section, but introductions of MA1, I'm really excited to see, and sort of how that again further divides sort of who plays in what division. But yeah, I think it was a great event. I think it's got to be said that you and Ian did a phenomenal job TDing the tournament. I didn't hear a single grievance during the weekend, and that was, bear in mind, it was torrential rain for the majority of it. So I think the way it played out was just, it was the blueprint of British TDing, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, thank you. And we were really happy with how it went. Overall, there was a couple of smaller issues that kind of didn't really detract from the whole event as a whole. There was one ambiguous ruling, a couple of groups sort of being a bit competitive with each other. But overall, really fantastic event, run very smoothly. Thanks so much to all the volunteers and everybody. I will have, if you've watched my trophy presentation bit on the live stream, you'll have heard me wax lyrical about how good having everyone around is. But Manchester Disc Golf Club, fantastic at organising stuff, and they really come together and put on a good event.
Yeah, and I've said it multiple times. It's a beautiful course, and I think it's probably my favourite, and I think if not the best free-to-play course in the country. Obviously, the best course in the country is up for debate. You've got to introduce Quarry Park and all sorts of things into that. But in terms of free-to-play, the fact it's a public park, yes, you have to deal with the general public walking around, but they generally are fairly clued up as to what's going on. And it's just I couldn't have thought of a better venue for this year's event. It was just everything came together perfectly.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of people who were a little bit worried about using Longford as the tournament host, just because of the fact that the course has a little bit of a reputation as fairly easy. A lot of the better players call it Heiser Chester. Just say, you can throw 14 Heisers off the tee. There's no chance anybody who's forehand or left-handed dominant could play well. I think all these things were proven wrong at the weekend, especially with the winner of Open being left-handed. The winner of all of the other divisions had players who were throwing forehands competing at the top level. It was a really good mix of players who did well, and I think Ian did a fantastic job of putting out OB in excess to what we'd normally have, which made the course sort of have more score separating holes and be challenging and punishing for people who were just trying to throw open wide Heisers, because it kind of became almost impossible to just do that on every hole.
Oh, for sure. It's the kind of OB that you're mad at, that you appreciate. So it's not why have they made that OB? That's pointless. It's that's super annoying that is now OB. But yes, that makes this. It means you've got to throw a good shot. You don't have the sort of the cushion. And I think sort of a tournament like Champs needs that. I know hole 3, if anyone that's listening to this, sorry. Which basically the play for me is to go into the hill. Making the hill OB was particularly tricky. So I know I got caught out on that, and I think two of the 4 rounds, if you include the final, I went OB into that early hill rough. So yeah, massively challenging. I think, as you said, Joe taking down the MPO just proved that it wasn't a big arm righty Heiser shot. I mean, it was technical enough that anyone could retake it.
For sure. So speaking of Joe, we'll flick over to the results and run through those for us real quick. So 90 players. Really amazingly, we didn't have anybody drop out at all. We had a waiting list of people ready to go who were keen to play, but after people had accepted and paid their invite, there was 0 people who didn't make it. So that meant nobody with COVID, nobody unable to travel. Usually you get a few people, but it was a fantastically attended event. Just sort of people prioritising it as it was the final. Pro purse of over $2,000, which is pretty great too. It's slightly inflated by players' packs and trophies, but not by much, because top prize, Joe taking home $476 US equivalent. I think it was £350, which is one of the highest cashes I've ever seen in the UK disc golf scene. And it's nice to be able to put some added cash into the pool thanks to the sponsors, and BDGA coming up huge and basically paying for one of the players' pack items so that we could funnel more cash into the open divisions. And we were able to pay out more more than entry fees for Open, so that's always a good tournament.
No, it's great. I think obviously there's a long way to go in terms of keeping up with the US, but the scene's much smaller. Everything's much smaller at the moment. I think to take home that amount just for coming and playing a game for a weekend is pretty damn impressive. And I think, I think that's only going to grow. I think we'll get onto majors in a second, but I think they've announced a quite hefty cash payout for some of the events next year. So it'll be exciting to sort of see how the higher cash sort of payouts maybe affect the players going, the preparation for events, all sorts of things, to how it will change the game in general in the UK.
Yeah, really exciting times, really, for sure. Shout outs to some of the other people who did well in Open. James Luton went in with the lead, managed to into the finals with the lead, and managed to let it slip away to Joe. Joe's a fantastic player though, so it's not really surprising. But yeah, well played to James, coming second. He shot a fantastic round 3 actually. Can't remember what it was rated, but 1051 rated round 3. So that's really showing he's right up there with the best players even in the world. Like 1051 would look fine on any top 10 leaderboard in the States. So cool to see that. Massive shout out to Matt Parslow, outperforming his rating. Fantastic final round. That 947 at the start, somewhat not reflective because he did have a 2-shot penalty in that round as well. So to be able to come back from the adversity, getting a penalty in the first round, and hold on to third place in the finals was very impressive. And well done to everybody finishing under par. 11 players under par. And in the women's division, Rachel Turton taking down the victory. Bella kept it close for all right up until the finals. Only 1-shot difference going into the finals, but then Rachel was able to take it away in the finals. So big shout out to Bella for putting 2 really good rounds together at the start of the tournament.
I think anyone that is putting pressure in Rachel needs as much props as possible. I think Turton's an absolute sort of she's a disc golf machine, right? She's kind of unstoppable. So the fact that sort of Bella was able to put the brakes on and actually take the lead for sections of the tournament was just incredible. And that was the card that I was watching quite closely on the live scoring.
Yeah, very exciting to watch the scores because they were like you say, they were going head to head, shot for shot, pretty much the first 2 rounds, and they were doing that up in Scotland a few weeks ago as well. So nice to see Bella being able to provide Rachel with some competition, because it would be no fun if it was just sort of one of them winning by 18 shots or 16 shots or whatever the difference between the rest of the division is.
Oh, it'd just be Paige Pierce's 2020 season, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Speaking of utter dominance, tournament director Ian McDougall averaging almost 1,000 rated, taking down the Masters division by 19 shots. And
that's just naughty.
That is just naughty. He's a very good player. He should have been playing Open, really. He would have been tied for 3rd.
Did someone say bagger?
Is it possible? Is that even possible?
I mean, I don't think you can bag in a pro division.
No, probably not.
Some parallel bagging, maybe. I know there's maybe a new term needed. Who knows?
In Pro Masters 50 plus, Ivan Bromage taking down the division, and wanted to give a big shout out to Ivan, who is donating his prize fund back into the club towards our new course. So thanks to Ivan for that. I'm going to do some socials for that, but it's a really nice gesture. In AM Masters, so the AM Division's prizes were vouchers for Disc Golf UK and also baskets for the winners, as Rob mentioned earlier. So quite nice to be able to offer such good prizes for AM Divisions. Thanks to Disc Golf UK for hooking us up with free baskets for sponsorship. So pretty cool. I wish I'd won one. My basket needs a refurb, but anyway, shout out to Jamie Cross, taking down the victory with a finals comeback against Matt, who was also caught and then passed in the playoff by Adam. Jamie, like I said, a little bit lower rated than some of the others in the division, but really put in the effort, came up from London for a practice day, played in the rain on his own, learning the course a few weeks before, so just shows that you get out what you put in, and he put together some great tournament rounds.
I love that there's each division has the ones to watch. I think that's great. I think there's this weird sense of non-celebrity celebrity status that certain people have in the UK disc golf scene. So of course we all know who Adam Keane is. You see him at every tournament. You know he's one to watch in that division. I first sort of saw him at Wembley. And he was the one guy that wore grip gloves, and I was just like, oh, like I haven't seen that before. So like there's characters in the UK. And I think every division has one or two characters that you know to look for when you're looking at the standings on at each tournament.
Yeah, I think it was actually only my second time ever meeting Adam at this tournament, and I knew exactly who he was because he's exactly the same online as he is in person.
100%.
Yeah. In the intermediate division, which is the division I was playing, again another super close division. James Cooper Cooney of Team Ace Disc Golf taking down the victory and able to hold on in the finals. But I want to give a massive shout out to a friend of mine, Florian, and his best performance in the tournament ever by really quite a long way. He was shooting the hot round in the first round. I think he was at one point he was 7 under par, beating everybody in open as well, which is pretty cool to be watching on the live scores. Everyone on my card is like, oh well, this is over, and luckily he decided to let everybody else have a chance and went 3 over in the last 2 holes to still only shoot the hot round at -4. And
super unfortunate on the last hole as well. So I think he had it right until the last moment, and he found the OB, which, as we alluded to, has caught a few people out. So with forcing the playoff, which gave Cooney the sort of the gap to take it away. But I think that again was nail biting. I was walking around with that card at the end, and that was a good battle. Yeah,
went OB right at the end of the finals to force the playoff, and then James threw one of the best shots you can even imagine off the tee of the first hole of the playoff. It's just amazingly good shot, like prime
Stunning.
Position. Yeah, I didn't watch all of the finals for all of the groups, but that was the best shot I saw on that hole.
And we can't skip over 1,000 rated round as well in intermediate division. What an achievement! I think that's up there with winning, is shooting around that high.
Yeah, fire emoji. Yeah, you don't get very many 1,000 rated rounds in MA2.
Not at all.
We had a couple earlier in the year at the Manchester tournament where the red course produced some ridiculous ratings, but we haven't seen very many of them this year in MA2 divisions. So big shout outs. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the average ratings of, say, even second, third place, like averaging like 950 through the 3 rounds, that would usually be enough to win an MA2 tournament in the UK. But yeah.
Well, that just nods towards the level of players that we had for the weekend.
Yeah, like I referenced before, like in the MA2 division, there was only one person in the top 13 who didn't accept their invite, so. There you go. You guys got a sneaky look at the internal dashboard for champs. There's all sorts going on behind the scenes, yeah. But cool, yeah. So me personally, I finished 6th place in intermediate, which I was really happy with in the end. I was kind of bummed out by my first 2 rounds. I went into the tournament having been literally ill in bed the day before, so. On top of all of the extra stress and having to be there at 7 a.m. to open the gates and unpack the marquees and put the gazebos up and delegate running around to put the OB flags out and all the stuff, organise the players meeting, give out the players packs, make sure everyone was in the right place at the right times. In addition to that, I guess I can't be too mad about the first 2 rounds. To me, it felt like I'd put myself out of contention to make the finals, which was what I was. My goal was never to win. I was just wanting to be top 5. And then I had in the final round, I finally kind of found this sort of sense of calm that I'd been missing for the last 3 or 4 tournaments. And even though the conditions were worse and grip was worse and it was muddy and rainy and windy, I managed to I bogeyed the first hole and I thought, here we go again. But I managed to par the next 8 holes in a row and then snagged a birdie. So with 8 holes to go, I was even par, and I kind of just, because I knew the course so well, because it's my home course, I was just able to be like, right, well, I know I can score okay on this next bit of the course, and managed to managed to get back under par and then hit an ace on hole 7, which we were talking about briefly before the start of the show. But this is the ace club right here. Rob also hitting an ace this weekend. Congrats!
It is the ace club. Thank you very much. It is the ace club. I think one of the best things about Manchester and having tournaments in Manchester is the layout means it's got a great length. Every hole, you don't have sort of a hole which is sort of forced in or seems like it shouldn't be there. But because everything's quite close together, when someone hits an ace, everyone knows about it. You hear the cheers, you hear like you could be the other side of the course and you'll know someone just did something, if not an ace, something incredible. So when I heard the cheers for that, I was all the way on the other side of the course, and I just went, oh no, there's the ace pot dwindling down towards to a few more people. But then when I found out it was you that grabbed it, and on hole 7 as well, which the majority of the rounds, our card was sort of struggling to get good distance out of the first tunnel shot, if not make it out of the tunnel shot at all. To hit an ace on that is just, props.
Yeah, really cool to get your first tournament ace on a really hard hole. It's not the longest hole ever, it's 90 metres or 88 or something, but it's a really good one to get, and you have to hit a really specific line, so it's a good feeling. Yeah, Gold Line River, for anyone wondering. My second Latitude 64, first Latitude 64 ace, second Trilogy ace. So.
Don't say that. Don't tell me you're going to be swapping over from MVP and caster.
No, I'm staying where I am. I like to think I've got a little bit of a mixed bag at the moment. I've got a couple of Trilogy discs. I've got a couple of Innova discs. I've got a handful of Castplast, and then everything else is kind of MVP focused these days. It's nice, but yeah, that was a great feeling to get an ace, especially as it was second to last hole, so there wasn't any time for me to go absolutely to pot after, which is what I was expecting to happen when the adrenaline dump came in. And what it turned out was that if I had managed to birdie the last hole as well, which could have easily happened, I birdied that hole in one of the other rounds, I would have made the final, would have made a playoff for the finals. So it was a case of so close for so far, but actually I honestly didn't even expect to be anywhere near that close to the finals. So it was nice finding out that I'd managed to get 6th and leapfrog a load of people.
I'd think that you sent yourself a voucher, sort of had the conversation like, hey Harry, here's the voucher. Oh, thanks.
Yeah, well, I'd said before the tournament I really wanted to win enough voucher to buy some Nomads.
Nice.
So that was exciting for me. Cool, and then we should talk about the division that everyone's waiting to hear about, Intermediate Women. This was actually the closest division of all throughout the weekend. It spread out a little bit towards the end, but I think it was after round 2 everyone was within one stroke of each other, which made for really exciting groupings. And it was really cool. And we saw Nikki Hunt take the win in the end. She had a fantastic round 2. And then the rest of the ladies were really close and had a good battle.
Well, if Amanda's listening, we need to apologise though, because 2 of us almost hit her off on the same hole. We both went OB and almost took her out on the 3rd round. So luckily unscathed as far as I know. But yeah, I think we were doing everything we could somehow to try and take out some of the people on that division, so unintentionally.
Yeah, no, it was cool to see them play really well, and they're always getting hyped on the course and excited for each other. So I was pleased that we got 6 people in that division, and they all got to kind of play with each other, and then also get a chance to play with some other people as well. And then in the final division, last but not least, of course, the recreational. Taking down the win, Rob Nicoll, playing well above his rating. What did he average? I
think it was in the 940s, I think.
Yeah, almost 940. Incredible, especially with that final round. And yeah, shooting +7 after the finals. I'm not sure what do you remember what you were before the finals?
I was 1 over before the finals. finals, I thought I had a comfortable buffer, but Chris, aka Swede, made it a bit closer than I would have liked it to have been. He sort of was shooting amazingly the first few holes in the final, and I was doing the exact opposite. So yeah, but I almost scratched for the tournament, which, bear in mind, I was going into it thinking if I can shoot 3 over per round, I'd be in for a good shot of getting into the finals. So far beyond whatever I thought I was going to shoot. Yeah. I've done the sort of obligatory scrolling through to see where I would have come in the division above. Yeah. I think I would have made the playoffs for the finals in MA2. So yeah, I don't know if I can keep consistently playing like that going into next season, but I hope I can. And definitely MA2 is where I'm going to be next year. So we'll see how I get on.
Nice. Well, I look forward to competing with you. I think I'm going to be mixing it between MA2 and MA1. So
nice. And as you say, I hit this is the Ace Club as well. Yes, the whole
Ace Club story time.
Whole 16 round 2. So unlike you, I had mine third hole in. So I had the fear that everything was going to go to pot after that. So hole 16 was one. It's always great. Like, it was a hole I was really worried about because, like, you talk about the OB. There was all of left OB. There was the right OB pen, and it was windy as well. So I was thinking, it was a hole I was worried. I was like, if I can get a par on this hole, it's great. Star Leopard 3, which is the disc I've always thrown in that hole. I call it the stepmom because I had another Leopard 3 that I lost in the river, which I loved, and the one I replaced wasn't quite the same. But it's now very much the sort of not the real mum, I think. It's its place, and it was it was the first ace. I've had an ace before, but that was a hyzer ace just into the chains. This was the first one that had a full flight. But wasn't fully clean. It nicked off a tree just beside the basket and decided to get lucky. So it felt incredible. But the hole after that, I sort of said to myself, "Don't try." It was hole 17, very birdieable. But I said, you know what? Keep yourself calm. Get par on the next hole. So take the next hole to get a bit excited. Take par, then move on. You've got a long, long, long round ahead of you. Otherwise.
Nice, and you did. So well done on that.
Thank you.
I think it's interesting that we both got aces with very similar discs, but on completely different holes.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm MA3. I'm still learning what discs are the right discs. I can throw all my discs in my bag well, but the decision making, I think, is the big difference between divisions. Like the sensible disc choice and decision making still up there. So I don't know if anyone else would have thrown a Leopard 3 on that hole, but that's what I threw, and it went in, and I'm sticking to it. That's the game plan I'm sticking to for the next few Manchester tournaments for sure.
Nice. Yeah. It's not a bad choice for sure. It's just different. Like, I think on that hole I was going hex, which is like a straight mid range.
Yeah.
So it's always just interesting seeing what people are throwing. I think that's one of my favourite things about playing tournaments with new people, because I played with quite a few people who I've only ever played like 1 round in tournaments with, or 0 rounds ever with at this event. Which is quite nice. Got to play with some new people, all of whom were really great fun to play with, and it was cool, for example, playing with Will Collier, who I've never played with before, and seeing like the different types of shots that he throws, because he likes to throw slower discs than usual, and you think, he doesn't seem like he's playing like he's got tons of distance. He's just like playing casually, and then he throws it all the way onto the hill on hole 3, and you're just like, yes, he does have tons of distance. So it's always cool seeing the different things people whip out, and the ways they play the course that we're all used to playing. Being that we play it every week, we kind of like I said, I pretty much didn't have to think about disc choice. I thought about which one of the same mould I would throw a few times depending on the wind, but pretty much I'm just like, okay, hole 1 we throw lots, hole 2 we throw a berg, hole 3 we throw a photon. Like I've got the whole course like mapped out in my head because I've played it hundreds of times. But it's interesting seeing how people who haven't got that local course knowledge adapt to the course.
No, I mean that's one of the great things, seeing how everyone plays the same game differently. I think it's definitely an interesting side of it.
Definitely. I look forward to seeing more of that next year when hopefully we get to play some of the British and Irish majors. So,
yes.
So this was announced this week, really today and yesterday. The schedule for some of 2022 British and Irish majors was released. So let's quickly run through some of the events. What are your plans for these next year? These majors.
So I think at the moment they're obviously talking about high divisions. So I think there's a lot that needs to still come out news-wise. Like I said, going to MA2 next year, I don't think a lot of these are going to necessarily cater for those divisions as well. But regardless, I want to play as many events as I can next year. If that's me just bumping up into a high division, if I can get a place, play a high division just to be able to, like say, be there, soak up the atmosphere, play courses that I haven't played before, and probably some of the best courses that we're seeing in the UK. That's definitely my plan. So I'm not locking myself out of anything yet. My calendar next year is as open as it can be, with the rest of life getting in the way.
Sure. Yeah. So I think although the idea of sort of the divisions they released is kind of protected divisions, age protected, and then open and MA1. And juniors. So with that being said, I think a lot of people are kind of worrying and thinking they might not get places at these, or they might not be designed for them. What I would say to that is look at the tournament attendance this year at the tournaments where there were rating caps. For example, Quarry Park Open, British Open at Quarry Park, when it was open to 900 plus rated players only, which I imagine you will be part of that club after your next update. There wasn't very many tournament. There was sort of 40 people max who registered in that time frame. So once you expand to the Masters divisions and the other divisions, I can't see kind of people who are rated over like 860, 870 not being able to get places at these tournaments. I think maybe in a few years there'll be more competition for places, but I think right now it's probably still going to be largely the same as this year. There'll be competition for places, but depending on how they invite people, I imagine they'll start with people over 900 and then go to 850. I would guess most people in those brackets will be able to make the tournaments they want to. And
I assume it is or isn't. That's not a statement that makes sense. But would people have to pass the PDGA exam to play in the majors, or is that just the US majors? No.
Yeah, no, that would be for an actual major or a national tour. These will be B tiers and A tiers. I think actually North Devon Open, which is going to be the British Open, I think this year. This one here, 2nd to 4th of June, is actually going to be an A tier, which is exciting because I don't think, certainly not since I've been playing, there's ever been an A tier in the UK.
And that's the one that's got £10,000 cash pot, is it?
Yes, I believe it might be $10,000.
Okay.
But
still more money than we're used to seeing.
Yeah, and that's enough money that we will attract people from overseas to come play.
Yes.
There'll be European pros who can budget for the cost of a flight over to the UK to play that event, which is quite exciting.
Maybe we'll see Silver Lat or other counterparts coming over to Devon.
I think we will. I think we'll see players at that level. Depending on touring schedules for the US, I imagine June 2nd to 4th is kind of in the middle of their main disc golf swing, so I imagine a lot of the better European players this year will go over to the US for that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it seems to be like Jonesboro and those that time. So I would guess people like Christian Tatar and who else? People like Vino Makala and Johanni Vino and maybe even Blair. I don't know who's going over to the US next year for tour, but I imagine the best players will probably be over there. But the sort of tier 2 of European players might easily come to the North Devon Open.
Fantastic. Right. Well, yeah, like I said, I've got very much somebody try and start me approach going into next year. Going to be as much as I can, as much as my holiday allows and my petrol budget allows, like you've said, as you alluded to earlier. I think the disc golf in the UK is just getting bigger and bigger, and it's getting more and more fun as it grows. So I think we're going to see some great things. Didn't get to Fellingerry this year for a tournament. I got over there for a casual round, and that's a course that's just going to absolutely blossom into something incredible over the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the scene the scene is growing. Like I said, we're getting 8 years. It's been recognised as a sport. I know that sounds funny, but frisbee throwing, when you try and explain it to friends, sounds silly. But this kind of re-legitimizes it as a sport, and hopefully we'll see it leak out into general sort of popularity.
Yeah, I certainly think we will, and I think we might start getting like a little bit of local media coverage for these events. And I mean, if you hear there's a frisbee competition that's got £10,000 in your I don't know, North Devon Weekly News, you're probably going to send your photographer over to get a few pictures. So we'll see that.
Probably called the Gazette or something like that.
Yes, of course it would. Yeah, we should really have asked Manchester Evening News to come out to our tournament. They would have probably sent someone. Next year. So quickly running through these, we've got Fellingerry Disc Golf, the Welsh Open, April 30th to May 2nd, which is a 3-day competition, I believe, with one round on each day. And they're trying for a 120-player field, I believe. So there should be plenty of places for that. If you haven't been to Fellingerry, it's an insanely cool course. The New Woods holes are some of the most difficult holes I've ever played in my life. It's a real challenge. Playing that 3 days in a row, you're going to be sore at the end of it because it's so much hiking. But that's an exciting one.
And fun fact on that, it runs the River Kerry runs along through it, and my middle name is Kerry, named after that exact river.
Wow.
So it's before disc golf was even a twinkle in my eye, I had a connection with that river.
There you go, and you can go fish your discs out of it on the start of May next year.
Exactly.
So June 2nd to 4th, which is the Jubilee bank holiday. So this is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday tournament, which is quite interesting. But this is the extra bank holiday we get for the Queen's, is it Platinum Jubilee?
She's had too many now.
She's
That's
getting up
to
there.
count.
But yeah, we get an extra couple of days of bank holidays, and we can go spend them in North Devon playing an 8 here, which is exciting. And then July 24th, 25th, University of Ulster and Coleraine is the Irish Open. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm definitely going to try and get out to Northern Ireland for this. I think this one may be the one that least people get to, because you have significantly more travel to think about. Most people will have to fly or get the car ferry. But yeah, recommended. Really, really fun course. I've played at Coleraine Uni. I've only played the 9 holes, so it'd be cool to see where the other holes go. And Chris, who's the TD of that, is doing wonderful things for the disc golf scene in Northern Ireland. So big shout outs to him. Then we've got the University of Essex, the English Open. I think this is the one that I'm least likely to be at, annoyingly. I know this is one that you'll probably be excited for.
I think this is the one that's going to cause the most amount of local upset, if I'm being completely honest. The Essex Open, which this is replacing, has been a big part of a lot of people's hearts in the south. You see a lot of the people in the south that have been playing disc golf for the last decade. They've had pride in having their discs from every Essex Open they've played in. So I think the fact that it's changing to the English Open this year, I think there's going to be a few people that are potentially missing the sort of, or seeing it as a replacement to an event that's been quite sort of cemented for a few years. But I think just bringing the level of competition to the course, it's a championship course. It's probably one of the best in the country, so it deserves a tournament at that level for sure. But we'll see what the local atmosphere is around it being changed.
Yeah, I'm certainly excited to hopefully try and make it to it. It's a very long way for me to Essex, but we'll see. It'd be cool to make all of them, so that'll be. But the placements, for anyone interested, the end of year placements are based on your best 4 out of 5. So you've got a little bit of leeway if you have to miss one of the 5. So there's that. But then the final one, probably the one I'm most excited for, simply because it's the best course in the world. Well, my favourite course that I've ever played. I've played Java, and I prefer playing at Blue Hill. So that's my endorsement. September the 30th to October the 2nd. Bluebell Woods, Dunbar. Be there. You'll regret it if you're not there, is what I would say about that. It's such a fantastic place to play disc golf.
I haven't played Bluebell yet, but that's on my my bucket list for next year. And as soon as I get there, I'm going to be spending weeks, I'm sure.
Yeah, you'll get there. You'll be driving home. And you'll be dreaming of the next time you get to go up. As long as it's not minus 3 degrees, 45 degrees sleet, and like it was one of the times I was there. But yeah, fantastic place.
I'm super excited about next season, and I think we're going to be seeing some good stuff.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how many of them we can make, how long we can go. Here are the divisions that they're playing: MPO, FPO, MA1, FA1, MP40, MJ18, and FJ18. And so, yeah, there'll be a lot of people playing MA1, and we should really get to see who the best AMs in the country are. And yeah, we might not get to see so many people compete for MA3 and MA4 in these majors, but there should be plenty of other AM events that they can join and get your fix of playing against your closest rivals, but also get your chance to compete against everybody and see where you stack up against the whole field. So, should be a good mix of the two. Cool. Well, 10 o'clock. Rob, thank you so much for joining and coming to hang out with us tonight. Appreciate your
Thanks for having
time.
me.
It's been fun. It's flown by.
Yes, I don't know where the time's gone.
It's always the case when you get into a topic you're interested in.
For sure.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming and hanging out. Everybody in chat, go check out our sponsors. Thanks for supporting the show. Share it with a friend. The links are available on YouTube and on Facebook to watch for the next forever. So send it to someone else.
If I can quickly plug.
Yes, of course.
We've just I'm one of the hosts of the AMSAT podcast, which is another thing you can listen to. But if you are missing disc golf in this off season, we've just announced the start of the Winter Putting League. So if you're interested in being part of a virtual putting league, it's all done on Puttify, and you just have to film yourself doing a round. You submit it, and we're going to have loads of prizes. So it's not just if I enter and I don't win the league, I don't win anything. You know, prizes for most improved, best overall sort of round across the whole league, obviously league scores, and hopefully sprinkle in a few fun events as well. So definitely something to sign up for if you're looking for a little bit of competition in the off season, but all with friendly competition in mind. Definitely check that out. It's on the British Facebook page, or you can message us at the AM side and we'll send you a link to sign up.
Nice. I will have to check that out. I have to. I'm not playing any disc golf at all in November, but hopefully it's still going in at the start of December, and I can join in.
Well, like I said, you might not get all of your score collated over a winner where all have added up, but there's still the best scores. There's most improved. Like I said, there's so many prizes that we hope to give out.
Yeah, and let's be real. The overall winner has already been decided when Joe O'Brien decided to sign up. So
for sure. But it's £5 to sign up, and every single penny is going to go back into prizes. And we're going to try and not just do bigger prizes for certain winners. We're going to try and spread that and try and work out how we can get as many achievements recognised and prizes back to people as possible. Yeah, it's all about just having fun.
Nice. I look forward to seeing how it goes. Cool. Well, from us, good night, and I'll see you all in 2 weeks. Peace.